Something insane is happening in China right now. I've never seen, in my 10 years in China, the citizens rise up like they are right now. Listen, when a brand goes out of their way to support me and my work, you can guarantee that their morals are in the right place. But not only that, it really helps when their product is awesome as well. Because Extra wallets are the best looking and coolest wallet you could absolutely buy. In fact, it is the only accessory I've ever taken out of my repertoire that has gotten me compliments. I've never once heard someone compliment a wallet before, but me and my friends, whenever we go out and we use them, people will go out of their way and say, whoa, where'd you get that wallet? That's super cool. And the reason is because it's awesome the way that the cards just fan out when you push the button. It slims everything down. No more bulky wallets, no more big bulge in your pocket. It's absolutely fantastic, and I love my Extra wallet. Right now, if you go to the Extra website, there's a 20% discount across everything, but if you use my link, if you go to shop.extra.com/Laowai86, you're gonna have additional discounts on top of that. So not only are you supporting the channel, but you're supporting an awesome brand as well. I've never received this many messages from family and friends, videos and pictures from Chinese people themselves telling me that there is mass unrest on the ground. You may not have even heard about it because China's created a media blackout. It is basically now the equivalent of North Korea, albeit with more money. But that doesn't stop people from finding a way to get the message out. The past few months leading up to now in China have been insane. The Chinese government thought that inhumane lockdowns would be tolerated. For the most part, they were. While the rest of the world evolved and vaccinated and took a more reasonable and humane approach, China locked people in cages, cut them off from their families, starved them, crippled the economy, and brought life to a halt. All while bragging to the rest of the world that they had, in fact, defeated the virus.
其实看到这个新闻，我觉得还是挺开心的，因为经过这么长时间的努力，说明中国的疫情防控已经取得非常好的效果。
So what's another lockdown, eh? Well, Chinese people are not stupid. In the beginning, if one area went into lockdown, the people in a non-lockdown area would say, hey, at least it's not us. And this placated people for a while, but this time it's different. There was no reason for China to go back into a draconian lockdown, other than the fact that the government had declared a zero COVID policy. No questions asked. A huge reason for this is that in a short time, Xi Jinping, the current dictator, will be up for election. Now, don't get this confused. This is not a democratic election, but an election amongst the top elite few of the Communist Party of China. They will select the new leader. He has changed the constitution, in fact, to make it so that he can run forever. But his position is not guaranteed if he's made any big mistakes. But again, don't get this confused. China doesn't even have a fake democracy like Russia. You see, if Xi Jinping was wrong and he declared his zero COVID policy, but it didn't really work out, it would give too much power to the few competitors within the top of the party. So China went all in with the lockdowns. It's exactly what happened with his poverty alleviation efforts. When Xi Jinping declared that poverty would be defeated, it in fact had to be defeated. And if it wasn't, well, it was just illegal to talk about it.
Comrades, friends, to solemnly declare that with the joint efforts made by the party and people across all ethnic groups in China, as well as this crucial moment to welcome and celebrate the 100th anniversary of establishing of the CPC, we have declared a complete success in fighting against poverty.
In China now, because poverty's been alleviated, there are no more poverty alleviation programs for the very poor because it's already been solved. If you say otherwise, that's slander and it's illegal, and you're speaking out against the party. You see how this works? The leaders in China can never be wrong. It's pure madness now. People are in the streets making speeches and otherwise freaking out, something you don't normally see in China, where the government has a very tight lockdown on every single person in the country. Shelves are bare in many areas while people fight over food. Since they've outlawed driving in lockdown areas, people are fleeing to walk miles down highways to get away from lockdowns just to avoid food shortages. Yep, the cages are back and people can't even speak to each other for fear of information getting out. You see, the central government money is flowing to build forced quarantine camps so quickly, the quality is laughable and will serve no purpose other than to satisfy the party leader in charge so that he can tell his boss that everything is going according to plan. None of this stuff actually has to work. This is how China operates. Big targets, big numbers, big quotas. That's all that matters in a top-down leadership model, not actual results. For example, things like testing numbers or propaganda about mass testing. Last I checked, you're not supposed to use the same Q-tip when you test consecutive people. Oops. People are forced to wait all day for COVID testing in snowstorms. And people in warm weather areas are forced to crowd together, spreading the very thing that the government fears so much. Again, to get the testing quotas. It doesn't actually matter if people get COVID. They need to force people together to get the testing quotas so that they hit their target numbers. And when they get a positive result, ding, 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 it's off to the camps, locked up for weeks in a metal box where you're forcefully tested every single day and cut off from the rest of the world. Razor wire goes up to lock people off from each other and to prevent any sort of movement. And when razor wire isn't enough, the electric fences go up. And when the electric fences don't keep people out well enough, the police straight up weld people into their homes. Yup, they're doing it again. Even after all the bad press about the people getting welded into their houses and starved out, they are doing it again. Robots are roaming the streets in Shanghai enforcing the rules, although I suspect this is mostly just propaganda. And watchtowers with searchlights were erected in Dongguan in southern China to catch lockdown escapees. This is real-life paranoia 1984 government control. The military is being sent in to quash dissent and stop anyone from moving around. People are locked in their apartments, and sometimes the food deliveries don't show up. I'm getting flashbacks to when people were scaling their buildings to sneak out to try to find something to eat. A friend of mine at 4 a.m. had the pandemic enforcement police in Hunan province come to install motion detectors on his door to make sure that he didn't open it. If you do, there will be punishment. But perhaps the biggest issue is what a person on the ground told me. That, yeah, they'll put up with being locked in their apartments. They'll put up with being cut off from the world. They'll put up with the loss of income, but at least give us food. The thing is, people are starving. And if food does arrive, it quickly gets stolen. And that's caused absolute chaos, resulting in people foraging for scraps. I kid you not, the Chinese government doesn't want you to see this stuff, but it's happening. When they do get food deliveries, people will kneel and show their appreciation to the government, but the government will often claim that COVID is spreading on food and then force people to throw the food away. You see, because of the lack of transparency since the beginning of the origin of the coronavirus within China, people have no idea where it's coming from. So, an official will come to the conclusion that, hey, it came from Australia. Hey, it came on beef exports. Hey, it came from ice cream. Hey, it came from India. Hey, it came from a lab in America. All of these things cause crazy knee-jerk reactions, like causing people to throw away all the food that was just donated to them. But like I said, you might not know about any of this. China doesn't not only want its citizens to know about this, but they also don't want you to know about it either. You see, everything in China is blocked. All social media is filtered to appear as a utopia. Hundreds of videos pop up showing people dancing for healthcare workers to show their support. What you don't see is when you look deeper, Chinese netizens ridicule such a stunt as they joust for their government food delivery that may or may not arrive. They know the truth, and they've reached out. The Chinese government has managed to do a pretty good job of segregating the populace into a situation where no one really thinks anything is happening because at that moment, it's not happening to them. It's the big benefit of having an intranet versus an internet in a country that uses censorship as a tool to rule the country. They've even set up snitch lines like the Stasi or the KGB to rat people out. I kid you not, they are paying people 1,000 RMB to tell on people who haven't registered their COVID information with the government so that they can be arrested. Unfortunately for them, this information is getting out there. You know something is up in China whenever you see a coordinated effort to make it look otherwise. In fact, in this very case, pro-Chinese government accounts that work to serve the Chinese government state narrative started making videos to show that there is no lockdown, and that all of this news sharing draconian lockdown videos is all Western propaganda. In fact, the Chinese government has been showing areas that are not currently in lockdown to show the world that all of these videos and media that you've been seeing from citizens themselves are just fabricated. Well, I, to this day, can tell you that I've never seen this many Chinese people reach out to tell me what's going on. People who are normally apathetic to the government sending me messages that this has turned them. This is the moment that their mind has been changed. This has become a massive humanitarian crisis. I'll leave you with a letter that I received from a Chinese person that I've translated. I know that you may not see this, but I have seen your videos, and I want to tell you that we are suffering. We are hungry, we are tired. We saw life go smoothly for so long that we never thought that this could happen. But we are not blind. We just know that we usually can't do anything. It's not that we support our government. Many of us just don't have a choice. So we go on about our day, doing our job, knowing things will never change. As long as we have food and family and we can live, we don't need to say anything or stand up against the government. But it's different now. There is no need for this level of oppression. They tell us lies about why we need this lockdown, but we know what it's for. It's for face. The leader can't be wrong about his method, but he is wrong, and we know it now. We, Chinese, can tolerate so much, but this is the last time we will tolerate it. I highly implore you guys go check out my interview I just did with Jordan Harbinger on the Jordan Harbinger podcast. I talk about the social credit system and the reality of the whole situation. I think it's really good. I think you guys would really enjoy that. So anywhere you watch your podcast or listen to your podcast, go check it out. Link is down in the description, and share it out if you enjoyed it.